A reading from Psalm 119, verses 169 through 176. Tav. Let my cry come before you, O Lord. Give me understanding according to your word. Let my plea come before you. Deliver me according to your word. My lips will pour forth praise, for you teach me your statutes. My tongue will sing of your word, for all your commandments are right. Let your hand be ready to help me, for I have chosen your precepts. I long for your salvation, O Lord, and your law is my delight. Let my soul live and praise you, and let your just decrees help me. I have gone astray, like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I do not forget your commandments. In many and various ways, God spoke to his people of old by the prophets. But now, in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son. God had once instructed his people to symbolically lay their sins on a goat. One day a year, on the Day of Atonement, this goat would carry off the sins of the people into the wilderness. The priest would lay his hands on the goat and confess over it, as Leviticus chapter 16 says, all of the iniquities of the people of Israel, and all their transgressions, all their sins. And he shall put them on the head of the goat, and send it away into the wilderness. Leviticus 16 verse 22 says, the goat shall bear all their iniquities on itself to a remote area. That's where we get the term scapegoat. It's someone who takes the blame so that others can be rendered righteous. This is exactly why Jesus is called the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. That's what John the Baptist calls him when he sees him. This second person of the Trinity, the eternal Son, begotten of the Father before all eternity, steps into the world that was created through him and takes the sin of that world upon himself. He was innocent in every regard. And yet, he took the blame. He took the blame for every sin his rebellious and thankless world had committed. Every sin is placed on him. Paul says that he became sin who knew no sin. He's the substitute who took our guilt and gave us his righteousness. The sin of the world was placed on this Lamb. Listen as I read from Isaiah chapter 53, verses 4 through 7. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace. And with his wounds we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way. And the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and like a sheep that before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. As we are concluding now our Psalm 119 experience through Lent, we end, as the psalm does, with this passage. As the psalmist ends Psalm 119 with this line, I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I do not forget your commandments. When the psalmist says, I have gone astray like a lost sheep, of course, the imagery that's evoked there is of this animal of sacrifice, carrying the sins of the people, wandering off into the wilderness, going astray like a lost sheep, not wanted, not welcome, with only one purpose: to take sin away and die. The scapegoats would not return. The harsh wilderness would kill them along with the sins of their people. But Psalm 119 doesn't end there. It doesn't end with that first half, I have gone astray like a lost sheep. No, it ends with, I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I do not forget your commandments. And we're left to wonder, will something be different this time when it is Jesus, the pure Lamb of God, who takes away the sin of the world? When it is him that takes the sins and carries them off into the wilderness like a lost sheep to die.